And good morning from St. Petersburg, Florida. It is 7:02 a.m. and it is September 12th, the day after September 11th. Kind of quiet for a day that America was attacked yesterday. ISIL is still on the move. I've been reporting that ISIL has a membership of, it used to be 17,000, then it dropped to 10,000. It appears that the membership is up, according to some of the reports that I seen yesterday, and it moves from 21,000 to 30,000. How much we can depend on these reports? I mean, how it has to be a guess. I mean, it's not like they're doing a poll with ISIL. So somebody is out there guessing, is my guess, that there is 21 to 30,000. That's a pretty big gap. I mean, it's just like they're reaching for numbers. 21 to 30,000, a 9,000 difference. And I'm just wondering, are they all armed? Did they suddenly get 9,000 rifles? I mean, if you're going to have an army, what are these 9,000 people? The support, all the secretaries and maintenance people. Is that the additional 9,000? I don't know. I'm just not trusting some of the stuff that we're hearing about ISIL. I think that it's that the American people may be being set up, and I hate to say it because how much I like President Obama and the Democrats. I'm not hearing too much from Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren on something as big as what's going on apparently in the Middle East with the United States, our involvement. And then Rachel Maddow was showing how many other countries were bombing. We're not just bombing Iraq and getting ready to bomb the hell out of Syria. We're bombing, I think with Syria, we're going to be bombing on a regular basis 6 countries, if I understood what she was saying right yesterday. But that's the new deal. We have 21 to 30,000, 9 more additional enemies in the Middle East. And again, I'm just wondering, where are they getting all the guns from? And if you're supplying what is now an enemy of the United States, a declared enemy of the United States, not only is ISIL declaring it, but apparently the United States is declaring it too. If you supply them guns, are they our enemy too? So if the Saudis and Qatar is supplying ISIL with guns, are they our enemy? If we started siding with ISIL, would the United States become the enemy? Just something to wonder. That's what I wonder. I haven't had my coffee yet. Take a little look around and see. Of course, you're looking at the waterfront in St. Petersburg. Let me take you to the street. Little blurry, but then again, it's still, the sun hasn't come up. But it's nice out. I look out my window. Everything seems to be okay out there. My little tree is growing. I planted a tree a couple of months ago, a couple of trees out in front. And they're barely straightening up. When I put them, they were leaning to the right, all tired looking, and had a bunch of dead leaves on them. And I cut the little leaves off. And plant is looking good. Here in Florida, you just drop it in the ground and that's it. That's the end of your obligation to that plant. It'll take off. It just tells you either put it in the shade or put it in the sun. And that's it. You don't have to run out there with all these, chemicals and seeds and stuff. You just put it in the ground. And apparently these plants get a lot of their moisture from the air. There's enough moisture in the air that keeps them going. You don't have to water them. I never see any, like in Colorado, you drive by in the morning and all the sprinklers were going and stuff. Here you just throw it in the ground and walk away, and it's on its own. So my plants are doing good. And of course the grass is getting ready to be cut, and I'll get after that hopefully soon. And the pool is getting ready to be cleaned and scrubbed down, and just all the little things that people in Florida have to do to live here to make things look as beautiful as that fountain that you're looking at. See that beautiful fountain? It doesn't stay that beautiful all by itself. You've got to get out there and put chemicals in there and scrub it and stuff like that. We don't get to see the maintenance people because we're probably looking at this at the wrong time. But to keep it that pretty, that blue like that, you've got to get out after it, because that algae will grow. That algae grows on concrete. It'll just grow anywhere. And, I guess under some circumstances the algae is good, but it's not so good in your pool. And if you don't get after it, it'll turn your pool green. Your pool will look like the Amazon jungle if you don't get in there and do something about it. So let's have a look around. Let's check out Citizen Stream. Let's see how Citizen Stream is. Let's go to full screen. Like that. And that's Citizen Stream, and Egypt is live. Fukushima, Japan is live. Another Japan is live. 3 Japans this morning are live. I wonder if something's going on in Japan, that all of a sudden we have 3 Japans live. I'll check that out in a little bit. Ukraine is live. And we've got a few worldwide lives. Let's restart this page for a minute here. I'm going to restart it. And we'll see what's... And Artstarzz is live. I always check to make sure that we're live, because like I said, you never know when somebody's going to bounce you off their site or ban you from their channel for saying something they didn't agree with. You can do that. That's the way it works. So we're live. Of course, ours says worldwide. Okay, let's have a look and see. There's President Obama. I'm going to keep his... that is actually the White House feed, YouTube White House feed. And of course, I kind of like to wake up in the morning and see President Obama. But what I was thinking it was going to do is act like some of the other feeds that, it would, whatever something would come live, it would come live to that feed. But because it's YouTube, it may not do that. YouTube, a lot of times you've got to put the new code in every time something new happens, and then you get the live feed. And there we are live. Syrian Freedom. 2 viewers are in Syrian Freedom this morning. 2 viewers are in Dissenters this morning. And 2 viewers are in Dissenters Information Network. That is Crusader 54. And of course, Artstarzz is dead. And our site chat hasn't had any new posts. And other possibilities, OPN, 4 viewers this morning. And Pot TV, there are still 2 viewers sleeping it in. And Paul Bigley, 9 viewers, and pretty quiet. And Vapor Central, no viewers this morning, pretty quiet. And 7 tweets, 7 likes. 687 unique visitors and 1,364 page views. So we keep pretty busy on this little page here. This is our main page, really. And that's it for that. Let's go ahead and let's check out the weather. Seattle, Washington, 57 degrees. Portland, Oregon, 64 degrees. Hayward, California, 62 degrees. Tokyo, Japan, 73 degrees. San Antonio, Texas, 78 degrees. Toledo, Ohio, 55 degrees. Los Angeles, California, 70 degrees. And Denver, Colorado, 30. Look at that, 32 degrees in Denver. Boy, fall is coming hard to Denver. They may have a hard winter. This, 32 degrees, that's a little chilly in anybody's world. And so I'm sure that's killing all the leaves, turning all the leaves in that area, and knocking them out of the trees. So they got to get out there and clean up the leaves. St. Petersburg, Florida, 79 degrees. Starting to get chilly here in St. Pete's. Usually we're seeing it in the 80s, but now we're waking up even at 79. That'll keep the air conditioner here in the house from turning on. Corpus Christi, Texas, 77 degrees. San Francisco, California, 60 degrees. Tampa, Florida, 76 degrees. Charlotte, North Carolina, 73 degrees. New York, 62 degrees. Santa Fe, New Mexico, 57 degrees. And Amsterdam, Netherlands, 68 degrees. Santa Rosa, California, 57 degrees. Gaza, 86 degrees. Tel Aviv, 86 degrees. And Jerusalem, 86 degrees. I don't know about that one. I'm starting to wonder what's going on that stays at 86 degrees. Hilo, Hawaii, 71 degrees. Rotterdam, Netherlands, 66 degrees. And we already did Amsterdam, and I didn't take that off yet, so that's the way that goes. And 109 unique visitors on the weather page. A little tongue-tied this morning. No coffee yet. We picked up some viewers on the site. We got 5 viewers on the site currently. Currently, we have 5. So hello to our 5 visitors, if they're watching the live stream from the site. 6 visitors. Well, that number jumped quick as the page moved around. Okay, so Nina is out there running around. She's in Dissenters 5. She's telling everybody good morning. So good morning to Nina if she's watching us. And I don't watch our chat during this time because if I don't pay attention to what I'm doing, I can talk for an hour with no audio, which means the show will either have to be scrapped or redone. So it depends on what kind of rant I'm doing, whether the show will get scrapped or whether I'll redo it. If I don't have too much to say because it's all been said, then I'll just scrap it. So let's see what the obituaries are doing. This guy has passed away, and Carol White is being mourned this morning from the Denver area or in Colorado somewhere. So let's have a look at the news, see what's going on with local news. And Colorado faces hard decisions about how to handle the river. Yeah, you've got to watch out for these rivers in Colorado. Of course, things are starting to change. They won't see too much big rains. They'll start to see heavy snow and freezing weather. In the high country, it's probably snowed already in the high country if it's 32 in Denver. Okay, let's see what's going on. Good. Udall's holding the lead. But it could go either way. We want it to stay with the Democrats. We need the Democrats especially to hold the Senate. But it would be nice if we could get the Democrats to control the House. Okay. Domestic violence is a big thing these days with that football player that just knocked his girlfriend right out. Looked like something you'd see on on boxing. He just gave her a left hook. From what I seen, she was coming at him, which is not a good thing to do, especially in the elevator where you can't run, where she couldn't slap him and run. But causing Rice a lot of trouble. People are saying his career is over, but they said that about what was his name, Michael Vick, and then he came back in and ended up being a quarterback after doing some time in prison. Yeah, he went to prison, got out and had a job. So there's a lot of things that get said, and then other things get done. So I think that this guy, he's pretty young. I think he's like 24 years old. This will fall out of the news. I don't care what kind of protests or things that happen. If the media doesn't follow it, it's dead in the water, and he'll have his career back. It's kind of not fair. Domestic violence isn't a good thing. It's a bad thing. But if this happened to a carpenter or a plumber or an electrician, an accountant, something like that, would that accountant no longer be able to be an accountant, or that carpenter no longer be able to be a carpenter? There's something wrong with that you lose your livelihood. Everybody knows, it's been scattered all over the news, that they were boyfriend and girlfriend, or fiance and fianceur, or whatever happens in that little thing there. I don't know who's the fiance, or if they're both the fiance. But anyway, they got married after this. And, if that was happening to a layperson, I don't know if he's a layperson or not, but if that was happening to, like I said, a carpenter or a plumber or an electrician, they would go to counseling and get some counseling and work this out. It's not the responsibility of the state to make sure that these people don't live together. It's the responsibility of the state to make sure they don't kill each other. So you'll have to go to classes, and it's probably costed him a ton of money already. Apparently, he had $25 million in the bank from a signing deal that he made with the Ravens. I guess it's the Ravens, and he had a bunch of money. But this is, if you get used to a certain lifestyle, $25 million. It can be gone in no time. You start living like you have 25 million, and it's like living like you've got 25,000. It can go pretty fast. So, hopefully he's not living high, and he's planning on that being his last paycheck, and he's got to make 25 million would last a carpenter or a plumber or the average American a lifetime. But if you're used to living with millions, it's not very much, because you do crazy stuff like buy your own jet, or you buy a yacht. Like I was saying the other day, this young baseball player bought a house, cost him $23 million, and it's going to probably cost him another $2 million to operate it by the time he has all his maids and his maintenance people, and shit. The electricity here in Florida alone will cost you $2 million a year on a house that big. It's a big house. Beautiful, beautiful house. But, $25 million, it all depends who has it, who's using it. You get used to flying all over the world, and there's a lot of things you start getting used to doing, gambling, a lot of things that people with $25 million will do. And so he was expecting, to make more money. That was just a signing bonus. He was expecting to make more money. So, he's a racehorse, and he's a champion. So the NFL is going to have to figure out a way how to get him back in to the game, literally to get him back into the game. But like I said, I don't think it's fair that they destroy these people. What purpose is it? Just so that they can become an example, poster children for the country? What right does anybody have to do that? Yeah, he gave her a good punch, knocked her right out. So mad he drug her out of the elevator like if she was, an animal. That's how it looked. And gave her another little kick. That's how mad he was. So, yeah, he had anger issues. He's a football player. No excuse for it. You're a professional. Boxers can't run around punching people out because, they're trained to punch you out. They can't do that. If you know karate, for example, you can't give somebody a karate chop just because you know it. It's against the law. You can't do that. As far as I know, no charges were brought against him. So, he has that in his favor. They got past all of the legal parts of it because this isn't something that just happened the other day. This stuff is months old and we're just pretty much getting wind of it. And, they're making examples of everybody now because the public is upset, and he lost a lot of contracts with Nike and some other people, so there goes some more millions of dollars. And that's what happens. Sometimes you're having a reaction. She was coming at him, and we don't know how long this has been going on. We don't know that if in the past she had slapped him. There's a lot we don't know. What caused him to hit somebody he loves that hard? And he hit her hard. I understand that it wasn't the punch that knocked her out. It's when she hit her head. Hit her head on that little thing that's in the elevator that you put your hands on, to feel safe that you're moving, so you got to hold on to something. So that's what actually knocked her out. It wasn't the punch itself that knocked her out. But again, I just kind of don't think it's fair that their whole life was destroyed. What is the point of that? That we're going to make an example out of him, and the country has to see this is what happens to you if you do domestic violence. Yeah, he could have killed her when he hit her like that. But she isn't exactly a small lady, and again, I'm not excusing it. I'm just saying that maybe in a fight they would have been equally matched, so that this punishment that is being doled out might not be justice. It just might not be justice. I think he's going to play again. I was watching the Ed Show, and they had a guy on there who's smarter than me, thinks he's going to play again. I think he should be able to play again. I think there's going to be some legal things, legal maneuvering that they're going to be able to do that the NFL can't do what they did. And I don't think the NFL wanted to do what they did. I think they were just kind of, pleasing the public. The public pays all them millions of dollars. They're $1 billion industry, $1 billion plus. That's a lot of money, and that's annually. $1 billion plus annually they make. So I don't think justice was served in this case. I think it was overserved. And, I just wanted to make it clear he shouldn't have popped her. But then again, it might have went the other way. Like I said, she was a pretty big girl. And if you've ever been punched, if you've ever picked up a baby, and that baby just, those babies, they're moving around, and then they'll lay one on you. If you've ever been punched in the nose by a baby, it hurts. So you don't have to be a very big person to get damaged. So that lady, had she punched him, and that could have been why, things were dropped. She was going at him. If you look at that tape, she was going at him. And if she punched him, he could have got hurt. And of course, when a man gets punched, and we'll go down that road, when a man gets punched by a woman, it's okay. She's a woman. She couldn't hurt him. That's bullshit. You got some pretty big women these days, and always have. And you can get a woman, moving up to a couple of 100 pounds real quick. And a couple of 100 pounds, that's what some of these football players barely weigh, a couple of 100 pounds. So a couple of 100 pounds against a couple of 100 pounds, you can get rid of the gender thing real quick. And now you got yourself an even fight. But we're trained as a society that you never hit a woman. We're trained that way. But the new rule is getting to be is nobody gets to hit nobody. Because in some states, it doesn't matter who started it. You're both going to jail. Why? Because the society started to learn, the legal system started to learn, like it was a big surprise, that it happens on both ends. And people say, oh yeah, well, it don't happen as much to men as it does women. Well, so? One is too many, and it doesn't matter who it happens to. So if one man is abused, that's too many. If one woman is abused, that's too many. One child is abused, that's too many. So the numbers don't matter how many it happens to. Women have sons, grandsons, brothers, cousins, uncles that this happens to. Do you think that women want that happening to their son? You got to remember, when you talk about men, they're somebody's son, somebody's father, somebody's uncle, somebody's brother. They're not just men. When a man gets assaulted by a woman, he's not just a man. He's somebody's brother or son or father. You know, it just so happens that in the past, possibly into the future, that more men do this. We have issues. That's what they say. We have issues. We need to be in touch with our feminine side. Well, it turns out our feminine side is just as violent as our masculine side. So now we're double angry. We're really mad. We're mad as a man, and we're mad as our feminine side gets mad too, we find out. Yeah. Our feminine side's all pissed off. Our masculine side is all pissed off. I don't even know how we survive. We're so pissed off. But just remember, when you talk about men, you're talking about your dad. And we all have dads. Try not to deny it. He may not be the best, but you have a dad. As we all have mothers, and we don't want to see our mothers knocked out in an elevator. Don't want to see our sisters or our daughters knocked out in an elevator. You don't want to see that kind of thing. But it happens. And when it does, then justice has to be served. You can't say because this guy is rich, he should have known better. You can't say that. You can't say that he's any smarter than a carpenter because he got into football and he had a skill that he could sell for millions, as to where the carpenter can only sell his for thousands, hundreds of thousands. Some carpenters can make $100,000 a year if you're a good carpenter. You can do that. It's not that hard. Good plumber, a good electrician, shit, you can make $100,000 a year. And if you're smart and you build a company, you can make what this guy makes, because he is a company. $25 million means he supports a lot of people. So when you took him down, he didn't go down by himself. All them people that he is employing are now going to be affected. You just killed a business. You didn't just kill a man or a woman. And by killing, I mean, that you took their income away from them. You didn't just do that to a man or a woman. You did that to a company. When you make or you have millions of dollars, you support other people. You're not just supporting yourself. That $1 million doesn't go into the bank and then every now and then you put your debit card in there and you use it. That ain't the way millions of dollars work. I don't have millions of dollars, but I do know this. People with millions of dollars support other people. Even little people with just, a $20,000 income support other people. So if you can support other people with $20,000, you can support a lot of people with $25 million. So they took away his livelihood, and I don't think that that's justice. And yeah, it's his first time, and yeah, there's a lot of maybes. He could have, would have, and should have. Might have killed her. I'm sure that when his dad seen that, when her dad seen that, that he wasn't too happy. You know, that her dad or her brother or the males in her family, unless they thought, hey, you know what, that was coming, that girl, and we all know that girl. When the men start saying that girl, when the men start saying that, and the men don't back you up anymore because they know that you're violent, and don't think women aren't, because they are. They can be. They can be violent. And like I said, she was going at him. So, they may have had a violent relationship. And there's all kinds of things you can say. Well, they're young. Young people are like that. And it's true. Young people are like that. When you're in high school, women and young women and young boys will slap around each other. You see the violence on YouTube now, women, and that's not nothing new. Women are videoing themselves fist fighting each other, knocking the hell out of each other. We are starting to grow past this men and women thing. We are growing past women are these defenseless little creatures with big brown eyes, and you have to defend them. We are growing past that as a society. Women commit murder. Women do a lot of things that men do. Women are in the military. Women are cops. That's violent. When you're a cop, that's violence. When you're in the military, that's violence. And as we can see, when you're in sports, that's violence. And it doesn't matter what gender you are. We have to look at the whole picture. Those days of chivalry are starting to go away. The young men don't feel that way anymore, that they have to defend the honor of their girl. They're not feeling that way anymore. And this isn't to say that all women are like this. I'm saying that some women are like this. Some men are like this. I say it over and over. 316 million people in the United States. This is not the rule. This is not the rule. These are some people that got crazy in an elevator. It happens. We're not perfect creatures. There's some people act some ways, and other people, they wouldn't even think of hitting the person that they love. They wouldn't even think of it. Either one, male nor female, would think of striking their partner. They wouldn't even think of it. This is something that was caught on camera, like a lot of things are caught on camera. Not even knowing, not even considering. They are in the place they were in there has more cameras in them buildings than any other place in the world. When you walk into a casino, they have cameras in the bathroom, cameras everywhere, because of all the money that's in them places, and all the people trying to get it without earning it. So they have cameras everywhere. And you walk into them places, and you know, if you've been in there before, you know that you're being watched. But sometimes shit happens, and your emotions get the best of you. And that's what happened. Like I said, that gal was going at him. And he met her. When she got close enough, he met her. He didn't lunge at her, corner her, and start wailing on her. He didn't do that. She was coming at him. And like I said, we don't know what their relationship is. We don't know if earlier in the night she had come at him and slapped him. And maybe he just told her, the next time you do that, I'm going to lay you out. And he did. Does it make it right? No. It just makes it life. Life happens. This isn't going to stop the next guy from punching his girlfriend or his wife, and this isn't going to stop the next gal from going after her boyfriend or her husband. People in love do that to each other. They kill each other too. It doesn't stop at a punch. You know, it's nothing new. This has been going on since Adam and Eve. If there was an Adam and Eve. But according to the Bible, this has been going on for a long time. Domestic violence has been going on since the beginning of time. And we haven't got it under control yet. Because, you know, there's something in our brains that we go into a self-defense mode. And sometimes that self-defense mode has a defect to where we're not even defending ourselves anymore. We become the aggressor and call it and think we're defending ourselves because somebody may call you something. Somebody may call you a word you don't like. And so that anger or that tool in your brain kicks into action. And you start defending yourself. Physically defending yourself because somebody called you a name. And then it escalates. And sometimes it gets bad, and sometimes it's caught on camera. But I don't think that this family, because there's kids in this too. Like I said, they're a corporation. They're a business. Of course, they did have some new employees because they had to hire lawyers. She had to hire a lawyer. He had to hire a lawyer. And then the lawyers have to hire investigators and so on and so on and so on. This probably cost him a healthy chunk of money. He may not even have that $25 million anymore. Lawyers don't come cheap because the lawyers have to pay somebody to do something. And it starts costing millions of dollars. Only because you have the millions of dollars. It wouldn't cost you $1 million if there was no way that you could ever pay $1 million. You wouldn't get $1 million lawyer if you couldn't pay $1 million. You may get a public defender to defend you in this case, and you may be sitting in jail right away. Right away you go to jail. But when you got money, no, that don't happen. I don't know that he was charged. There was a lot of dancing around in this case. A lot of talented people saying they didn't know. Just a lot of things start going wrong when there's a lot of money involved. All of a sudden, I didn't see it. I didn't know. That starts happening. You know, like I said, you're talking about destroying a business. And it just didn't bleed all over them. It bled all over the NFL. $1 billion industry a year, annually. So when this happened, it didn't just take down the Rices. It started to spread all over. And I don't think that the majority of the Americans know or care. The media is doing it again. They're doing what they do best. Creating a story. Asking questions.
My fellow Americans.
Uh-oh.
Tonight I want to speak to you about what the United States will do with our friends and allies
This is
to degrade
the other
and
day,
ultimately
but
destroy
we already
the
seen
terrorist
this.
group known as ISIL.
That's cool that it comes
Commander
on.
in Chief,
But if we wanted to see what the president said concerning ISIS, I could just click that on and we could watch what the president said about ISIS. So I'm going to keep this little video in our live stream chat boxing page. All you have to do is click on live stream now. I kind of streamed all that stuff down. I had somebody mention that it was kind of confusing. And if somebody, mentions that the site, is a little confusing to navigate, I get after it and I try to clean it up. And it only takes one person. So if you think your voice doesn't matter, it does. All you have to do is mention it, mention the problem, in any part of your life to somebody. If you're having a problem, speak up, say something, and you can get it solved. Or not, but you've got to say something. At least you ain't carrying it around thinking, well, you didn't even try. You got to try. So getting back to the Rices and the news, like I said, I don't think that I think we've gotten too much justice. That's what I think. I think that that they've taken this too far. And they've made an example out of this young couple. And they are a young couple. They're not very old. So that's it. That's enough about the Rices. And again, Senator Udall is holding its own. So hopefully we'll see the senator keep his seat and keep the D's, the Democrats, as the majority. And like I said, I'd like to see the House do the same. But, then again, too, we've had the Democrats controlling everything. And they fought amongst themselves, kind of like what the Republicans are doing now. They fought amongst themselves. So, hopefully, should that happen, and we have the House and the Senate and the presidency. We have all three of them on board as Democrats, that they will work together for the people to get something done. That they won't start saying, well, you know what, hey, there's something in this for me, and start doing the same thing the Republicans are doing and cripple the system. Obama shouldn't have had to fight as hard as he did to get the Affordable Care Act, but the Democrats, the Blue Dogs, were stopping him. And if you don't know what a Blue Dog is, it's a physically conservative Democrat, which should just be a Republican. But the difference between them and the Republicans are that the Republicans, they work for the rich. There's no denying it. It isn't my imagination. There's plenty of evidence to show that the Republicans work for the rich. But the Blue Dogs, the physically conservative Democrats, say if you don't have the money, you can't spend it. No credit. No matter what. No matter what. That's just the way it is. So we're hoping that Senator Udall of Colorado wins. We're hoping all Democrats win. We're hoping that we keep control of the Senate and we gain control of the House. It's not looking good for us right now. And that's just the way it is. Shit like this happens. But they're reporting that 70% of eligible voters don't vote. That's what they're reporting. And that's a problem. And probably 70% of the eligible voters that don't vote complain that this country is going to hell. It's going to hell, and it ain't what it used to be, and America ain't America anymore. And they just sit on their fingers and they just twiddle their thumbs instead of voting. And can you guess who the majority of that 70% is or should be? Democrats. Democrats. That's who they are. The Republicans couldn't do what they do if they weren't in office. The rich couldn't do what they do if the Republicans weren't in office. There ain't nothing wrong with being rich. I wouldn't mind being rich. But some of the things that they're doing, Hobby Lobby, for example, Hobby Lobby, how they impose their will on the people. That it's not about being rich. It's what the rich do. It's how they impose their will on the people. And then the people just sit around and say, oh, them rich people, they're out of control. They're out of control. They're just in it for themselves. They're selfish. That's what they say. And then you tell them, well, do you vote? And they say, no, my vote don't matter. What's one vote going to do? That is the dumbest argument that you'll make in 2016, 2014. That is the dumbest argument you will ever make. It does a lot. And you would be right if you were the only one in the country voting. If one person just voted and made the decisions for everybody, you would be right. But it doesn't work that way. Millions of people vote, and millions of people make these decisions. And if you think the way you do it, the chances are pretty good that millions of people think like you, saying, my vote doesn't matter. You got 1 million people saying, my vote doesn't matter. Well, like I said, individually it might not. But when you've got 1 million people saying that, yeah, it matters. It matters big time. And this country is in the position that it's in because people don't vote. Look at Ferguson, Missouri. They did that to themselves. I don't care how you push it around. They did that to themselves. Them are elected officials, including the governor, who acted more like a Republican than a Democrat. Them are elected officials, and they voted them in. Or in some cases didn't allow black people to win, to represent them. That's not to say that because a person is black, he's going to represent or she's going to represent the black community. They're supposed to represent everybody, black or white or brown or red or whatever color. When you're an elected official, you're in there to protect and defend everybody. But if it's an all-black community and only white people are elected, how did that happen? Did they cheat them? Did they all vote and then their votes were thrown away or lost or didn't get registered? Is that what happened? No, that ain't what happened. Like 17% of the Ferguson people voted. That pretty much covers the white people. The white people went to the polls and voted. The black people had other things to do. And you can't not make excuses why they didn't go to the poll. Oh, well, they were afraid. Martin Luther King was afraid. Them people that were killed in Selma, Alabama were afraid. So because you're afraid, you've got to stop fighting for your rights? Nah, they weren't afraid. They weren't afraid. And they sure aren't afraid to protest. When they had the chance to protest with all the media there, they sure weren't afraid to do that. They're going to get a chance to vote. And like I said, the way voting is today, of course, that's a pretty poor area. I don't know if they'll be mailing out ballots like they do here in St. Petersburg. Because they have money problems. Their revenue comes from arresting people. That's how we make the money. Because why? People can't afford to pay very much property taxes. And people with money don't want to live in Ferguson so that they can raise money through property taxes. So no taxes, no services. And you hire all white people, and they decide the only way to get money out of these people is to threaten them. Got a tail light that's out? Jail or pay the fine. Get your welfare money together, and that's just the way they think. Get your welfare money together and pay this fine, or you're going to jail. That's the way they talk to them, too. There's no doubt that there's racism in Ferguson. But there's also no doubt that had these people have voted, this kind of thing may not happen. But if it did, it would be black on black crime. That's what it would be. And that happens. Don't think that doesn't happen. Just because that police department is white, it could have been black and they could have done the same thing. It's just not that likely. And we're going to find out, because Ferguson will be in the spotlight from here on out. Just like we still know about Rosa Parks. And we know about those kids that were the first ones to start integrating the schools, I believe in Mississippi or Alabama, wherever George Wallace was, that was trying to stop them kids from going to school. Just like we'll remember that. Ferguson will be remembered. Just like we, remember Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman. We'll remember these things. They're part of history now. But will they vote? We'll see. We'll see. And I hope that the anger that they have now, they take it to the ballot box. And vote in their city council. And vote in, their mayors and their governors and their senators and their congressmen. Get them all voted in there. And get busy. Get busy getting your area straightened out. Have a say. Have a say in what you do. But you got to vote. So hopefully the Democrats will maintain some control of the Senate. And Senator Udall from Colorado is going to be the ones that's going to help us maintain some control in the Senate. They're saying that we may lose it. If people don't vote, we're going to lose it. And people like me are going to be pissed. But, I vote, and that's about the extent of my involvement. I am not going to go out and grab people by the hair and drag them to vote. I'm not going to sit around and tell people, well, other than what I do here, that, it's their fault that the country is in the shape it's in. If you're complaining, it's affecting you. And if it's affecting you and you're not voting, it's your fault. There's no way around that. That's just the way it is. And that's the way it's always going to be. They were talking about making it so that the only people who could vote were property owners. I'd be able to vote. I own property. Nina would be able to vote. She owns property. But if you don't own property, you wouldn't be able to vote. And it's not supposed to be that way. You're supposed to be able to vote no matter what you have or who you are. As long as you're of voting age, you're supposed to be able to vote. People fought and died so that you could vote. And then you sit there and say that your vote doesn't matter? That's, that's kind of messed up. And then even worse, that you're going to complain. You're going to complain when things aren't the way that you think they should be. That's messed up. But, that's nothing new. That's the way that it is. And let's see, yep, and we're still dealing with the domestic violence thing. And Hickenlooper and Beaupre. Oh, Beaupre's running for governor in Colorado. Yeah, he's always nipping at somebody's heels. And Hickenlooper, I'm not real happy with a lot of the decisions that Hickenlooper made. But he isn't stopping things from happening, but things that I think that he should have supported publicly and said, yes, I support this, like pot, he didn't. And maybe he doesn't, but at least he's not standing in the way. And pot has been good to Colorado. Pot has been good to Washington. There's problems. A lot of robberies. People are trying to rob them pot people now because it's a cash business, because they can't put their money in the banks. It's against federal law to put that pot money in the banks, because according to federal law, they are getting it illegally. Even though state law says no, they're getting it legally. It's one of the times that the state is right. It's legal. The people want it. They voted on it. And the federal government should respect that. And President Obama is trying, but he still has to work within the law. Holder is trying, but he still has to work within the law. So, homeless, let's see. Denver moves homeless from the South Platte and the Cherry Creek encampments. Now, this is a little fork over by where we used to live, and apparently they're moving the homeless people out of there. It's a cool place to camp, I could tell you that. It's nice. Of course, in the winter it sucks, but it's a beautiful place. The water is clean, and they found a lot of bacteria or something, disease or something in that water. They test that water all the time, and they found a lot of stuff in there that you don't want to find in a place that's considered clean. So anyway, that's where the homeless go and put up tents and camp and try to survive. So when they move these homeless people, they have places for them, and it's just further east of the city. They have big old warehouses where they house homeless people, and then they help you get jobs and stuff like that, help you get established. And that's one of the things that some of the Denver citizens don't like, is that the Denver government helps the homeless in the way that it does. But you got to do something. But unfortunately, when you're just one city and the homeless from all over the country start coming to Denver, well, then Denver needs some federal assistance. Some cities used to give you a bus ticket out of town. They would tell you, we're going to give you a bus ticket, and we don't care where you go, but here's a ticket. Where do you want to go? And we'll send you there, but you can't stay here. And they thought that was helping the homeless. I guess it's better than jail. But they would give them a bus ticket, and a lot of them would come to Denver. Because Denver didn't give you a ticket out of town, they tried to set you up. And there was priorities. If you were a resident of Denver and fell on hard times, you're going to get priority. You're going to get your services before the guy who just came from Chicago or Mississippi or something and came to Denver to try to survive. The guy who lived in Denver and fell on hard luck is going to get the services first. And that's just the way that it works. So I'm about out of time. And again, I don't think that what happened to the Rices is in the best interest of the American people. I don't think justice is being served. If this happened to a carpenter, an electrician, you wouldn't take his license away. Of course, there are certain things, if you don't pay child support, for example, they will take your carpenter's license away. Some cases, they'll take your driver's license away. They'll start taking licenses away if you don't pay things like child support. That's the way that it used to be. That's a family issue, and they're trying to solve it that way by making you pay, by taking away your sources of paying. They take it away from you. So now you don't have any money because they took away your right to work. They took away your right to drive, your privileges. They start taking away your privileges. And that doesn't seem to be the best thing, but it's what they do, and that's the way it works. So I'm Artstarzz. It is September 12th, 8:01 a.m., and all is well in St. Petersburg, Florida. And that's just my opinion. Have a good day.